that the younger people need to do. For instance, what's happening tonight. Just imagine if what is happening tonight through your great ambitions to make this happen, that it happened in different places within the community, people knowing each other, getting to know each other, looking at what is a vacuum. So I feel the challenges are connection, and I don't mean really being chummy, but it's thinking, what are the same goals? What is it that we need to do so that we are enthusiastic about coming to a meeting? Even the children should attend meetings, and we should look at what is it, because they're in the same environment that we are all in, and every state seems to be that way. But we sit back, not because we're not interested, but I think we don't know how. And somehow, with all that I'm hearing tonight and some of all the things that are done, I think it would be a very nice thing if we could weaken that stronghold and somehow have a little more of what is happening tonight throughout the district. I think that could be very influential. And for instance, I'm a graduate of the police academy, and this group meets once a month. It's the whole group that attended. And there is an explorers program that the police have. And once in every month, we do something, and we have plans. It gets planned to where we're going. And the students come. They come after school. And it is amazing how those trips have opened up their hearts. I really go because I enjoy seeing the enthusiasm of them. And they are actually, they connect with everybody. We're so much older than they are, but they connect with the police. They connect with the people that are there. And a few months ago, when we were doing it, out came this great modern dance that people do. And those students, they got up and they began to teach the older people how to do what they knew how to do. And that's what I mean. It's becoming and drawing in with a common interest, a common hope, and not fearing and listening to everything. And the big challenge is what is on TV. When I turn on TV, it's the most violent thing anybody could see. And I think children watching that, but I do know parents do somehow manage to cope with that. So the challenges are environmental. They're also internal, emotionally. And I think that we can do very well if we become aware that it's okay to speak about the differences in cultures and what we learn from that, what we like from that, and drawing the interest. That is what I think is today's challenge. Okay. And I hope that we can get together in a very planned way, and have an agenda and make it work. And I think it would. I think it would absolutely work. And I thank you. This is a wonderful thing that's being done tonight. And I thank everybody that did it, because we're listening to people that are doing things that I would not have known. And it's wonderful what they're doing. And you should know that they're about the Explorers program with the 115th precinct, and other precincts to follow. And they also come attached to what we do. And those meetings are very, very informative. And I would hope that you get at the precinct and come in and do that, because I think there are things that can draw all of us together. Individualism is okay, but we must be careful that it doesn't separate us. And I think that one of the challenges today is that we are separated, and we need to change that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any question? Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you for this great presentation. And I'm sure, as I do, I'm sure other in this panel tonight, I think they have learned a lot from your experience. Any question to Ms. Helen before we move forward?
I'm sorry, I would say thank you so much for everything that you are doing, Ms. Sears. And I think that this is the time, for example, to connect. We have an amazing program that we are starting that is for, it's called Elmore's Prevention, Suicide Prevention for Youth. And I really think that that will be a really good idea to connect with the Explorers program, because that is one of our biggest problems now. Our teenager, our youth community is increasing the suicide, and we need to do something. That is something that I really think. Thank you so much. That is a good resource that you are sharing with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other question for Ms. Helen?
May I just say that I can't imagine this neighborhood without the 115th precinct, so thank you.
Oh, yeah, thanks a lot. It took a great deal to do it. I tell
I
you.
can imagine.
You would be, you get so shocked about why is it that they're not putting a precinct in our community? And that
Well,
you have
thank
to
you for
fight
that.
to have that.
Thank you.
Thank you. It took a while and being very feisty to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if Henry has a question.
Oh,
Do you, Henry?
do you have
Right.
a question? Father, do you have a question?
I'm sorry, if I have a question?
Yeah, do you have one?
Yes, I have one. I have one. How do you feel today about all the things you have done for this community?
Mhm.
How do you feel
Well,
the
it's
result of your dedication to this community?
well, I think everybody has a feeling of not accomplishment, because it just goes on, accomplishment is doing something and maybe that's the end of it. But people remember, and I walk out in Jackson Heights and there's always somebody coming and saying, do you know who she is? You know what she did for us? And I say, well, and I try and calm them down. And it's just making life better, and it's making a community thrive in a way where people have their sensitivities and they show them. And that's what we need to do. We need to show love, and we need to show kindness, and we need to show caring. And that's what should be the target for all of us.
Thank you, Ms. Helen. Thank you. And we have Henry's comment on the chat. So Henry pretty much want to thank Canon Woodley, and he wants also to thank the leadership of the church and the panelists as well for supporting the entire community through this interesting conversation. Thank you, Henry, for your support as well. Well, if we don't have any other question for Ms. Helen, so we're going to continue with Beatriz Fabregas is the next panelist. And so the floor is yours. And thank you in advance for being here.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Beatriz Fabregas, and I was born in Colombia, and I have lived in this country for about 30 years. I have a bachelor degree in nursing, and actually I'm working for Visitor Nurse Services of New York as a nurse instructor, but also I have some administrative responsibilities regarding, with the community. So the community is part of my life because I'm a nurse, and we had the blessing and the opportunity to meet with different type of, individuals of all ages and socioeconomic backgrounds, and also when they are very sick and when they are very happy. So we nurses, we had that blessing that some, profession, maybe they don't have that very often as we do. Also, I'm a president of the Queens Columbia Lions Club, and my club is one of the chapters that is, that are distributed in the borough of Queens and Brooklyn. And we belongs to one of the largest organizations in the world, which is the Lions Club International. And we have our governor, which, he is in Queens right now, but we have different type of governors that administer, the association. What we do is basically to serve the community in many areas, and especially, the children's who had cancer, and also we support the seniors, and we do raise funds, and we, make a lot of donations to the American Diabetes Association to fight, a cure for the disease and also for the cancer. We also do a lot of projects, to improve the environment, and also, to involve, the children's. We have what we call the LEOs, and the LEOs are, involving the community. So since that they are 12 years old, they are able, to develop themselves, and have a sensitive about what is needed in the community. I totally agree with, with the panels, behind and before me, when they refer about, the challenges that we are facing and right now. As an organization of the Lions Club, we are facing one of the, challenges is about the diversity. How we can come together where people coming from different parts of the world, and languages, and ways of living, and the ways of thinking. That's one of the biggest challenges that we do have as an organization. And as a nurse, I facing this every single day, because I have to make a lot of presentations in, English and Spanish also. And but I have a lot of immigrants coming from Africa, coming from Europe, from Ukraine, and they are all them in ones. And it's very difficult, to get the message across, because, one is the language barrier. And secondly, they have a way, a structure of life that is totally different from when you come to America. We had developed, different, tools in order, to approach the diversity. One of them, so we do have conferences, we have, departments that assist them in their own languages. And when I do the presentations, we have translated in Spanish or in Chinese or in Ukraine, in any type of languages. So everybody comes together and everybody feel also inclusive. We also work with the LGBT community, and we also have a great programs, to target this community that they want to serve, but they don't know how, in what place they are included. And we do a lot of projects, like I said, and I thank, Padre, Mr. Cortez, for giving me the opportunity to expose, to be in this panel or join this panel. It's my first time, but I'm willing to work with the community. And like I said, another, challenge is how we can connect together. And most of the time that I found as an personal experience is the ego. Sometimes people have a lot of connections. They know where they can find the resources. They don't want to share for some reasons. I don't know what it is, what's the name of that, but this is one of the obstacles or the challenges that we do face. You see, I'm so happy that Ms. Olga is is willing to share. This is where you can find a lot of, community, they don't know where to go. But if you have a person who knows, has a lot of information, why you don't share? What is the problem? And I think the connection is one of the biggest challenges. Another biggest challenge that we facing is actually lack of trust. You see, people, they don't trust you. They don't trust you. You say you are going to a meeting or you are going to do a project, they're looking at you like what it is, what are you talking about? So this is, I don't know, with this coming from maybe with this new globalization and new way of doing things, that there's a lot of information in the internet. There's a lot of information in everywhere. We don't know how to select which one is good. So therefore, if you're talking to me, I'm talking like, okay, yes. If you invite them to my organization, they say, okay, no problem, I'm going. But it's not, they don't trust. It doesn't happen. I'm about 20 years part of the Lions clubs, and I can see the difference between what happened when I came a Lion and now it's totally different community, different perspective. I contact with Ms. Londoño. I had the opportunity to speak to her because I went, to the Elmo Hospital. We have involved in different type of projects with the hospital for many, many years. Not only, my club, but other clubs. So basically, how we as an organization, we can come to the community and we can offer our volunteer job and, opportunities that we have in our projects so we can help them. It could be, just, from reading a Bible. It could be just reading a book, anything on that, but how we can come together. We as Alliance, sometimes we find very difficult to find that. We have to search and search until we find it. So I am so happy, to have this opportunity to expose, but like I said, we needed to work together. And I think one of the ideas that we can, we work together is actually, like having a link or anything that we can share information. So if if the Lions is doing a project, let's see, a feeding project, what area of the Jackson Heights or the Meadow Village or the, Queens Boulevard, they need the most. Sometimes, we serve, food to a community that they know what to do. They have some, financially, you can see them, that they have some kind of, money, to buy food and to do everything. So we actually, we don't know yet. And in what specific area we serve, especially after the pandemic, because everything had changed. So I think this is one of the ways, if we can come together, we set up meetings, we come and we line up, how we can do this, okay? And we distribute, tasks, we did a plan, and then so we can reassess, very often if this is working or not until we get together. Because getting together is one of the biggest challenges that I see, from my point of view. Also, another challenge is how we can keep the consistency, for any type of projects or programs that are out there in the community. It's like you develop one program now or one project, and within 6 months, you don't see the project anymore. So it's like in the people who, who create the project for whatever reasons they need to move, or they die, or they are sick, the leadership is not there. It seems like the people are more willing to help, to assist, but not to be the leader. So because, they don't want like a take responsibility. I'm not saying 90%. I see most of the people do it, but I have seen on my own eyes when I go out to the community to distribute toys, not me, the whole group of the Lions, we observe that. So that would be, another, problem or challenges that we're facing. We do believe in God, we pray, that is good, but we need some actions, things that we can put it and make it real. So like that, we can impact the community. I thank you so much again. And this is my first time. And it is my pleasure and my honor to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this presentation, Beatriz. And before we move with the questions, I would like to recognize, acknowledge the presence in our sanctuary of Charles Taylor. I know Charles is there, and I'm sure also that Jessie O'Connor, who is a member of the vestry, she might be in the sanctuary as well. Other parishioners might be with us in the sanctuary. And I would like to recognize, before we move forward, two persons from our leadership who are behind the screen or behind the scene as well, who have worked very, very hard with technology and with everything in order to guarantee the success of this event. And they are Jorge Sanchez. Jorge is right on the sanctuary, and also Carlos Cortez. Carlos might be right now as at Helen's house, probably supporting her with technology, I'm sure. So thank you so much for what you're doing for this community and for ensuring this event, the success of this event. So do we have any question for Beatriz after her presentation? Any question?
I'm sorry, I have a big mouth. Beatrice, we have to connect. My email is in the chat.
Yes, I see it.
I have
And I
plans.
save it already. I save it
You guys
already.
can't see my wheels, but they're going. They're clicking and clacking. So I'm looking forward to connecting with everyone on this panel or your community. I'm here. Just let you know. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all.
Any question?
Father, it's Jorge.
Yes, Jorge, come in.
I don't have a question. It's just more to say thank you so much, gracias, to all the panelists who accept our invitation. And I've noticed something very, very magical, which is women power. 4 panelists, 4 women. Congratulations. You lead us on everything, and this is just another proof of that. Thank you so much.
So, Father Pedro, are we ready to go into the debrief section?
Yes, if we don't have any other question for Beatriz or for any of the previous panelists, so we will move forward with the debrief. Any question? Benjamin, do you have any question? Or even Henry, if there is any concern, any little question about
Yeah.
topics?
Yes, may I ask a question, Father?
Go ahead, yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Well, one of the points that I think was brought out, and as well, is that families have changed and the environment has changed because women have now gone back to work. And that all started after 1942 and the war was over. Women were the ones who kept the factories open so our troops could have all their clothes, and that's one way of how we won the war. But the families today and the cost of living today, that there are 2 people that now are working, and that means one is out, one is in, one is out, one is in. That in itself presents challenges to the working, the ones that are not, and to children if there are children in that family. It would be really very helpful if somehow there could be a way. I know daycare is something else again, but maybe we could begin to have exchanges somehow that people living in larger buildings of doing something, giving somebody a day off and watching the kids and so forth. I think you know what I mean, though, because it's very difficult for families to go out and attend meetings when they're either getting home from work or they got work to do, and that would be for the mother and the father, and maybe even a grown child. So I think that needs to really be studied. I don't know, maybe I'm making a lot of that, but I do think it's an issue that we haven't had before.
Okay, thank you, Helen. Thank you, Helen and Clara and
So it's a big issue.
Beatrice and Olga. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And just so if you're interested in what we're in the outcome of this group, after you all sign off, or you're also welcome to listen in. We're listening for alignment of potential partnerships. And are there patterns? Are there things that are repeated? What's being pointed out to us in the conversations that we had tonight? So we're going to do that, and then I can imagine that Father Pedro would be happy to send you the reflections that people have tonight, so that you can find out, what did we learn that we want to take forward as we discern what it is that God wants to have happen here. So want to thank you on the behalf of everybody. If you want to give a little round of silent applause. Yeah, okay. So feel free to sign off if you'd like to go and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the invitation, and please count. I think that on all of us to help you and to work together, and we will count on you too. Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you all. Have
It's a
wonderful
pleasure.
evening.
Thank you
Yeah.
all.
Great,
Thank you
thank
for the
you.
invitation. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you,
Have a good
Haiti.
night.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Oh, it was really lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Helen. Yes.
All right, everyone. So first of all, thoughts on the evening? Did you learn anything new? What struck you?
Can I
Yeah,
answer
go right
that?
ahead.
Hi, how are you? It's good to see you again, even if just by Zoom. I was struck that each of the four panelists were bringing up a challenge being lack of trust and lack of connection. That theme kept coming back again and again, and I definitely identify with that as well. I feel like the entire environment, has changed since COVID, and none of us trust any aspect at this point because COVID, changed everything, ruined everything. We lost lives, we lost jobs, we lost our livelihoods. And so that lack of trust, I don't have a clue what the answer is, but that lack of trust and lack of connectedness, it felt like it kept coming up again and again from the various panelists.
We don't have to have solutions. Our job is to listen for, what are the patterns? And that was clearly a pattern. What else did you all hear?
Well, and as Jennifer, I think I concentrated myself more in the challenges as resources that, as something that would help us, well, not now, as you said, but probably in future to verify which are the resources that we might have in order to change these realities. So I was very struck by the fact that diversity, language are also part of the big challenges in this community. The fact that we are a diverse community, so languages, the different languages, and the way of everyone thinking has turned to be a big challenge, according to some of the panelists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other folks, what did you hear?
This is Carlos. So I thought that it was a very positive view. Despite the challenges, everyone seemed to have a very positive view about wanting to work together and doing things constructively. I was surprised actually that no one mentioned, the crime rate, the drug abuse, the substance abuse, the political upheavals that we're encountering right now. I didn't hear anything negative, really. I saw, or I heard more of the personal efforts to try to work things out together in groups or individually reaching out to others. But I was very surprised, that no one really challenged the disparities in education and wealth and income. All those are very, very impacting things that destroy lives in many ways. And yet, the focus was really on how to work together constructively and looking at the positive side of everyone, which was very nice. I think that was very, uplifting.
Okay.
Can
Other
I,
folks,
Jorge? It's Jorge here.
okay.
One of the things that I think it got into me, it was very, very noticeable on the conversations. It was the desire to help. These four panelists were willing to support, were bringing positive messages, positive thoughts to us. And I think it's important, as Carlos said, even though we are right now like kind of in a depression because the economy is not good, COVID is coming back, a lot of things happening, right? Not only in the US, but in New York, immigrant crisis, poor people coming, to the US, we need to help them. So even though that all is happening, we see light in people. We see light in people trying to support. And I'm glad that we're able to put this together. So now they are more connected and hopefully they can support each other and we can do something together with them, right? We can invite them here to come to St. Mark's. We can invite them to speak with our congregation. Unfortunately, we didn't get too much people today, but they can come here and share thoughts, share goals. I think we can even have more impact. But I like, again, they were positive and they were willing to help. I really like that.
Okay. Anybody else on immediately things that struck you?
It's Henry Garner. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I took notes because I thought, first of all of it was very interesting and it just filled me with a lot of information. I'd like to start off with the first one was the building trust. And that to me, having worked as a census taker, that immediately was nobody trusted anybody at working for the census. Or you try to explain to them what was going on and they really weren't interested. But there were also things is what Ms. Sears had said, a connection weakness. And then it went on a little bit more humane. There was, we need common causes, common interest. The diversity is a major challenge because you have different lifestyles, different languages, different traditions. But then she talked about, well, everyone did really talk about love and caring, that is what's important for us, is that we really need to love and care and we need to have faith. All that was very important. But there was also, to me, was the information sharing and being able to refer services to the different groups and even to us. There was connecting talent and working together. All of that is hopeful. All of that, I think, is happening today. But it's to me, it was very positive and very informative.
Did you all hear any places of before I do that, I just want to remind you of some of the things that you all found were very important when you did your neighborhood prayer walk. You talked a lot about children. You talked about the friendships that children had, the diversity in children's friendships, that there were kids that were walking to school together from different religions, different races, different cultures, and that they were all friends. You talked about the diversity of Jackson Heights, and again, how it is both a wonderful positive thing and a real challenge because people don't have common cause. You talked about the children, both the women who were working, who were either enslaved or working as sex workers, and their possible children, and that being a concern. And just the life of children is a very important thing. The life and health of children is a really important thing to the people of St. Mark's. Does anybody remember anything else that was part of the importance of the observations in the prayer walk? So now listen, did you hear alignments with the things that you observed that were important to you and important to St. Mark's? Did you hear alignment with work that people are already doing in other places? Where is St. Mark's already in alignment with people?
Hi, it's Ben Brenkert. I did hear some alignment with the feeding of the community in terms of, I know PS 212, they recently, as they were saying, transitioned away from the Brighter Bites program, but there is sort of alignment with feeding the community and our Lion Share Pantry and meeting the needs of people through food insecurity.
Okay. Other folks, what other points of alignment did you hear? Is that, there's nobody's responding. Is that too abstract a question? Do people know what I mean by alignment? Where are other people doing work that is similar or in the vein along the lines of interest that St. Mark's has and St. Mark's observed in the prayer walk? I heard a lot of work with children. That was something that I heard, and appreciation and love for children in the speakers
And
who were
also with
talking.
immigrants, right?
And immigrants, yeah.
Canon Woodley, I mean, the alignment that I always see, amongst all, the panelists also and other members of the congregation of St. Mark's is the need to help the underserved, the people who are new immigrants, new arrivals, the poor, trying to feed the poor, and I guess in some way also an alignment in trying to bring spirituality to people. And I think that that's something we should be working on. And I know in the vestry we've discussed reaching out to youth, to start a campaign to reach out to youth in some way. I know it's very difficult because, as Helen Sears mentioned, young people are just not going to religious services in any, denomination or other religion. So that's something that's challenging, but I think that there's some alignment amongst different people, and I think some of the panelists mentioned that.
Yes, another alignment that I see is with Beatriz Fabrega's organization. For example, they are very immersed in sponsoring special events, including fundraising, dissemination of health information and medical supplies. So here at St. Mark, we are providing health information and support to our community. So we have the Latino community, the Latino Commission on AIDS in this church, and also we are working in partnership with a lot of health institutions to strengthen and bring important health programs to our community. In fact, last Saturday, we had in agenda a very, very big and important event, and unfortunately, due to the weather, we were forced to cancel it. And
Yeah.
it was a tremendous program, health fair, with the participation of dozens of other institutions, to host it here at St. Mark in order to provide that service to the whole community. And we are still in this, and we have rescheduled this for October 28th because we believe in this. Our goal is to serve the community, and this is where I see the alignment as well.
That's an important observation. Other folks, places where you sensed alignment, where there's a potential for a partnership or a new ministry. Okay. How
Carmen.
about moments of inspiration? When
I'm sorry,
did you-
It's Jorge again. I have a comment for the previous question.
Okay.
I think I said this before in another forums. I think one of the challenges that we have here is to find ways to attract families and young people. So I see a potential opportunity of us connecting with Miss Olga from the school, the other folks that are connected with families or children. We have a huge opportunity to host something here for them and bring them on board with our mission and try to connect and join forces to support the community. I think that's another big opportunity we have. And it's a challenge that we have to somehow tackle because it's depending on the future of our church.
Okay. Okay, anybody else on alignment? How about inspiration? Were there times where like you suddenly had an idea of, whoa, maybe we could do this, or, wow, what if we tried that? Anybody have any moment of inspiration? And you don't have to have a full-fledged idea. You don't have to have everything figured out. I don't know if you've ever heard me say this, but let every idea live and time will tell. Did anybody have any moments of inspiration?
Canon, just listening to them, very inspirational. I love the enthusiasm that they brought. So it was just an inspiration. The fact that they accepted this invitation, right? Because, I don't think they knew us from before, right? Then they show up and they were very, very enthusiastic. So that inspired me a lot. And I'm very thankful to, for you to push us and to guide us to have this event, because it really helped. Hopefully, I'm recording it in YouTube, so I will share it with everyone, and we share it. Unfortunately, it didn't work at the beginning, so it's gonna be like half of it, but at least most part of it is gonna be available for us to watch online. So very inspirational from my side, especially the speeches and the words and the non-verbal language that I used. They were very, very keen to help us to be involved.
Okay. Other folks, did you have any ideas as people were talking? Did you feel like, oh, we could try this or we could do that? Did anybody have any fresh ideas pop in their head? I had one. I had one of blocking off the street and having a community potluck dinner and give everybody the task of telling their story to their table as much as they wanted to share. And there's a story format that is part of the Becoming Beloved community curriculum that would be stunning in a group setting like that, where people are encouraged to tell the story of, you know, who you are and where do you come from and what do you bring to this place. And yeah, so that was my idea. Anybody else have any ideas? Don't worry if you don't have anything right now, it might need to percolate. Okay.
Where can we get a copy of that curriculum?
Right online. Go to the Episcopal Church website and look under Beloved Community Storytelling.
When my name's Sheila, I'm from the Scout Troop. When we were children, I was brought up Catholic, so we were always in mass with our parents, but the church also brought you along. The school also brought you along to church on certain days. You know, like for us with the Scouts, we always come to Scout Sunday. It's once a year. We try to bring the boys. So they're getting introduced to a religion that they might not have grown up in. Is you've got Olga Flores. I mean, she's awesome. My son went to her school. I think she's a diamond. Is there something that you could do, like a celebration where you could bring the children? So you're not like really just pushing religion, but you're getting them used to coming to the church and things like that, even though they could, you know, you could have 30 different religions out there. Is there something like that you could do on a school day, have a mass just blessing the children or something like that?
I don't know if you can have that, but it's a celebration of a service of celebration of children. Was that the idea?
Yeah, something like that. So then they're inspired to know, you know, if your parents don't bring you to church, you don't know anything about it. And so we have children in our organization that parents are very religious, or they're Hindu or Muslim, and they're very religious in that way. But with the Scouts, we try to show them all different types of religion. So you're not just focused on the one that you're being brought up in. So maybe you could have like a little blessing for the children or something that would go with their curriculum, where they could come across to the church. It's only across the road. You know, like the blessing of the animals the other day. It was awesome.
So that's a great idea. I can't answer that, but I wrote down the idea and let's see what God will do with it. Anybody else have any ideas like that? All right. Let me just look at the questions again real quick for myself. Was there anything that you want to learn more about? Or anything that you were particularly drawn to that people were talking about?
Canon, from my side, I would like to learn more about the job that the school or the hospital, what they do with new families in New York, or how they work with the families that they serve, and how can we maybe, you know, connect with them to support those families in a way and try to attract them to join us here in St. Mark's.
Okay.
I think that's.
All right, anybody else? So is there anything else that anybody else hears something that they'd like to learn more about? Is everybody just about ready for bed? Have we reached the end of our night?
Well, I would like to learn more about from what Beatrice and Clara London's institutions do in terms of supporting immigrants and putting together this I would say information for health support to the community, which I think are two important resources that they are that they have for the entire community. I would like to see more from a closer perspective what they're doing, and see, I would say, in how we can replicate this in what we do as well in the church, or how we can partnership with them in some of this activities.
What's a partnership you might have?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, friends, I think we've reached the end of our night. So what I am going to do is I'm going to suggest, Father Pedro, that you convene a table at coffee hour this coming Sunday and ask people if the Spirit spoke to them about anything further from our time together, because sometimes people need to sleep on things. So we'll do that. And I think you guys have done a great job, and I think that there's going to be lots of good work, good powerful stuff in your future from this experience.
Thank you.
Anything else that anybody would like to say before we finish tonight? And I will send all of my notes to Father Pedro. I'll clean them up a little bit tomorrow and then send them to Father Pedro.
Yes, I will.
Can I
Sorry,
just
Carlos, go
add
ahead.
one quick comment? Because I've been here with Helen Sears in her home, and we've been discussing this on the sidelines. And Helen has emphasized, that we have opened up an approach that we should continue. It's something that we should build on in our relationships with other community groups. And it's just the beginning, and it's the first step, but we should grow and make this effort to reach out to everyone. Because, Father, just to answer your question about what does Elmhurst Hospital do, they serve like 95% of their patients are immigrants. And they serve everyone, regardless of their ability to pay. So in many ways, they're doing the same work that the church does, but the church is doing it spiritually, they're doing it medically, but it's the same group of people, the needy, the new arrivals, the immigrants. Jorge mentioned about, what are they doing for new families that are arriving? And, they're reaching out to everybody, That's it. Thanks.
All right. Father Pedro, you want to close us in prayer?
Yes, thanks. Yes, and again, I would like to express my gratitude to all the participants here, and as I did to the panelists, and especially a big thank you to Jorge and to Carlos, because I know they worked very, very hard to make this event successful. Let us pray. Loving God, we want to thank you tonight for allowing us to be together and to reflect together and to find out where your strength is. And you help us to visualize where our weakness and challenges are. Help us as we continue to work in this community to put together efforts that will help us to get more closer to the people in need, where we will be able to spread your gospel and your love to this community. Help us to abide always to your name, to abide always to you in everything we do. And we ask all this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 All right, friends. When is our next meeting, Father Pedro?
Look, it will be in 1 month exactly. I think November 4th.
Okay, and that's when we're going to be doing the World Cafe. So,
I'm checking my calendar to be clear. Yeah, World Cafe, Saturday, November 4th at 10 a.m.
Okay.
10 a.m. to noon. Yes.
Wonderful. We'll
Yes.
talk more and we'll get a group together that will help formulate the question that we are going to ponder. I will send you, did I already send you the information on the importance of good questions?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw something. I think so.
All right, good enough. We'll talk more in the coming week. Blessings, everybody. Thank you, thank you,
Blessings.
thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right,
Thank
good
you.
night.
Bye. Bye. Good night.
Bye. Good night.